But you can also tell that his coaches are making sure he's getting down, and they can't afford to lose him.
He got 8 yards on the run. He rolls and throws. That's a strike at the 25-yard line to Xavier Scott. Josh DeBerry with the play defensively for BC. That's a first down, Maine.
Absolutely. Fagnano, they'll roll him out. And a nice, easy pitch and catch to Scott, who played some running back last year. From Vilsek, Germany, via UConn. UConn got beat up a little bit today. We'll see them next week in Raleigh against the NC State Wolfpack.
Fagnano pressured, and he goes down. They tried a little play fake. It did not develop for Maine. Now Boston College was there and ready.
Yeah, and in a hurry. You've got 3 bodies right there and staying in the rushing lane. What was one thing that stood out last week, they get a little bit of pressure on Virginia Tech, but there were some guys in the middle that were out of their lanes, and it gave Virginia Tech a chance to squirt it out of there. That time they did a good job of the vice angles and bottling up Fagnano.
There's Oraku on the play for BC. This is Barnwell trying to stretch it out to the right side. Not a lot available. That'll bring up 3rd down. Marcus Valdez was in on the play for Boston College. So Maine, the beneficiary of the poor punt from Longman, but now it's 3rd and long for the Black Bears.
Yeah, nice play defensively to stretch it there on Barnwell, and it's a football team that really wants to establish the run, but that may be a little bit easier said than done against this BC defense.
There's a 3rd down and long.
That pass is incomplete. Once again, Tyrese Baptiste, closest Maine receiver to the football.
Baptiste arguing a little bit over there and acting like maybe he was held as he tried to slip back in for that little slip screen, but ball falls incomplete, and here comes the field goal unit.
Cole Baker is the redshirt freshman kicker for the Black Bears. This will be a 45-yard attempt. He is 1 of 2 so far this season. He did make a field goal last week against Colgate of 33 yards away in the losing effort. On the way inside the pipe, and good from 45 yards away from Cole Baker. He's a Massachusetts native, and he puts Maine on the board.
Excellent job. He missed a big one at the end of the game last week, but he got over it and pushed the Black Bears on the board first here tonight.
A 6-play drive for the Black Bears produces a 45-yard field goal. They have scored first in this game. They've actually won 16 of their last 18 games, James, when they've scored first. Now, we don't imagine that 3 points would stand up. We've got a long way to go, but it is Maine getting on the board first. Just over 2.5 minutes on the drive. Time for our impact players, brought to you by your local Toyota dealers, James.
Well, Pat Garwo, they've got to get him going, but he also has to help himself out a little bit by breaking a couple tackles and hitting a big one. Get back to those numbers like last year. Xavier Nurse out of New York City has been a big-time linebacker all over the field, a big playmaker. He had 2 sacks last year and one of the best blitzers on the bunch, so look for him to continue to pressure Jurkovec and get in that backfield.
The Black Bears making the trip from Orono, Maine. It's 253 miles north of our location tonight. They bust down yesterday, and here they are with a 3-0 lead. It's going to be a shortish kick. Gill on the return. Gill to the 40. And escorted out of bounds near the 45-yard line by Kazir Brown. 37 yards on the return from Jalen Gill.
Gill, a heck of a receiver. Look for him to make some big plays, not only from that receiver spot, but on special teams as well. And here he gets the edge, and it's up near midfield, and a nice place to start here for BC's 3rd drive of the night.
So not a whole lot to show for those first 2 drives for the Eagles. They're only at 12 total yards at the moment. They struggled, James, on the ground last week against Virginia Tech. Just 4 total rushing yards for Boston College. Little trickery and a flip to Flowers. He's on the Maine side of the 50, dragged down by Xavier Nurse. Nice
job by Shakur Smalls to fight to get outside, to turn 4 back in. Boom, 23 right there. Fights, gets him outside. His buddies are inside to come help. Yeah, he gained 9 yards, but a guy like Zay Flowers, if you don't get outside, it's off to the races. And a good job, too, by Boston College of getting the ball in the hands of Zay Flowers early in this one. He didn't get it until the second quarter last week.
9 yards on the previous play. That pass to Takis is incomplete. Trying to get Flowers a certain number of touches per game, James. That's kind of a key number for Coach Hafley.
Well, they got him 13 touches in that first week, and that's more like it. For a guy like Zay Flowers and his talents, for him not to touch the ball until well into the second quarter, like he did last week in Blacksburg, that can't happen. They've got to continue to find creative ways to get him the football.
1 for 3 on 3rd down. This is 3rd and short. And that should be first down yardage for Flowers, who made the play on an individual effort.
And here's why, Tom. I mean, you've got 2 defenders. 2. It's hard enough for 1 to tackle a guy in space. You got 2 and he just splits them and gets that first down. Nice play by Zay.
Tempo from Boston College. And that is ruled down at the 49 of BC. So it's going to be a loss on the play as Garwo did well to catch that, James. I think that appeared to be a backwards pass, potentially, and a loss of 7.
Yeah, well, Garwo does a great job, because if he does miss it, it's a fumble and a chance for Maine to come pick the football up. So that was a huge play by Garwo. Here we'll take a look at it as Jurkovec's going to throw it. Yeah, absolutely. Man.
I mean, he's got to cover that football, which he did alertly. But now it's 2nd and 17 for BC, and Phil Jurkovec loads this one up, cuts it loose inside the 15, dragging to the goal line for the touchdown. Flowers took the defender into the end zone with him. 51 yards for BC.
Wow, Zay Flowers has his defender beat to the point to where he reaches out and grabs a hold of him because he knows he's beat. That's Benito Spate. And still able to power through and focus on that football, pull it in, and then power into the end zone. Huge hookup. The big plays that have been missing. There they are, BC fans.
Boston College 51 yards on the connection for Zay. Third receiving touchdown of the season for Zay Flowers from Phil Jurkovec, 51 yards away, and Boston College has taken the lead. Time for our Max Performance, brought to you by Z-Max. It's Zay Flowers in the history of BC football continues to move up the rankings, James.
Yeah, absolutely. And you got to get that Z-Max playmaker the football, and they certainly did on that drive. Little jet sweep, trying to get it to him there on the quick receiver screen that he split and moved the chains for a first down. But the big hitter, the 51-yarder to the end zone. Big stick on the outside, and it's all catch up for Spate. And really tough to catch him, and doesn't number 3 know it. That's why he hangs on for dear life and trying to hang on and keep him out of the end zone, but nobody's stopping the man from Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
He dragged that defender 10 yards into the end zone for Boston College. And the touchdown to take the lead here in the first quarter for third-year head coach Jeff Hafley. Great conversation with Coach Hafley yesterday, James, in the offices of Boston College football about the attitude of this team despite a couple of close losses to start the season.
Appreciate his candidness. You know, just hey, this is how it is. This is where we are right now as a football team. But he really loves these players, these leaders on this team.
Trevon Ewing on the return. Breaks through the 20-yard line. Ewing across the 50. BC trying to chase him down. Ewing down the sideline. He stepped out. There is a whistle. He did step out. He broke through that first line of defense on kick coverage and then turned on the Jets. Jalen Cheek pushed him out of bounds, or else Ewing was on his way to the end zone. BC hustling back, trying to catch Ewing.
See, it's just the consistency has to be there when you want to play winning football, and it doesn't matter if you're playing at Virginia Tech, against Maine, next week against Florida State for BC. You can't follow up a 51-yard touchdown. You finally got some juice there on the sidelines, and then go kick it away and have a bust on special teams. Not to take anything away from Ewing. Heck of a return and great job blocking. Great field position again to start.
Maine working in the red zone after that first down play. 73 yards on the return for Trevon Ewing. Maine is now into the CPI security red zone.
At halftime, they're going to have to shore up these quarterback runs that are hurting. That's a first down, a gain of 5.
That's inside the 5, down by the pylon. And Maine has scored. Sean Bowman, what a catch as he got by Jaden Woodby.
What a throw and what a catch. Woodby's right there in the window, but threading that needle and getting it to the captain at tight end, who split out there wide, leading the team coming in. 8 receptions. Number 9 is a big one.
A 17-yard pass play to Sean Bowman. And now Cole Baker for the extra point for the Black Bears. James, they've come to play tonight, responding to the long BC touchdown pass play.
But Sean Bowman, the senior from Delaware, 6'5", 263. And you know, he can move in and he can block there on that interior with his hand in the dirt as a tight end. It's, you know, one of those chess pieces when you talk about coaches playing the game of chess with one another, offense and defense. He's one of those chess pieces that, you know, whether it's FCS or FBS, that's a chess piece that's better than a lot of other chess pieces you go up against. Last year, 4 touchdowns. Here they split them out and they run them on a route. And when you got a quarterback that can thread the needle like that, getting it to the big man, boy, that makes it tough on a defense. How about the Black Bears answering right after the big strike? That was impressive.
Coach Stevens' team took just 2 plays, 22 yards after the 73-yard return by Ewing, and they cash it in for the touchdown as Gill will remain in the end zone for BC. First-year head coach for the Black Bears in Orono, Maine is Jordan Stevens. He spent the previous 7 years as an assistant at Yale. He's a former Maine assistant and an outstanding defensive end. Played in the FCS playoffs as a Black Bear, and a little different, these 2 pictures.
Yeah, he was a lot bigger bear. He was a big bear. Good for him. A lot of guys, when they're done playing on that defensive line, they go the other way, but he's in good shape. Looks like he could run some routes now at wide receiver. Had 24 career sacks, did Jordan Stevens, as a Maine Black Bear.
Jurkovec dumps it off. He got dropped to the turf. Flags are out.
Yeah, they were trying to sneak the back out and run a little screen there, and he got tackled.
Holding. Defense. 10-yard penalty and an automatic first down.
Kyrie Mans is number 11. So the first flag of our game goes against the Black Bears on the hold, James.
Oh, that was Flowers coming across again. New offensive coordinator John McNulty. I mean, he knows who to get it to, number 4, and they're trying hard right there. Trying a little bit too hard is Kyrie Mans to keep it away from him. So a first down here for BC.
Inside of 3.5 minutes to go in our first quarter. That's Cam Barfield just short of the first down marker. And for more on Maine's first-year head coach, let's go down to Lauren.
Thanks so much, Wormy. Appreciate it. Yeah, talking to him this week, he said, look, guys, this place is in my heart and soul. He's always wanted to play here. Growing up, he made it a mission to play there. He went to prep school, didn't have an offer, finally got a full scholarship out of high school, and after that, he wanted to be a starter, put effort into that, ended up being a starter, and then he knew once he graduated that he eventually wanted to come back and be a head coach, and he said, I want to make that my mission, is just make these Maine players love the school here, love the brotherhood, and that's his mission as a head coach this team. He's really brought it, and you could hear when we talked to him this week, guys, how passionate he is about Maine football.
Absolutely, Lauren. He grew up his whole life wanting to play there, and he's still living a dream. Here's a 3rd and short. I don't know that he got it. This one's going to be very close. Well, they don't like the spot on the Maine sidelines, but they'll move those chains. Yeah. Wow.
That's going to be good enough, Bates.
Quick over the ball as Lauren was doing that hit on Jordan Stevens. BC right over that football on a 3rd down and short. When you've got a big body like Phil Jurkovec in there, 6'5", 215 pounds, you like to see him go under center and be able to take that snap and go behind Drew Kendall, the center. Fresh set of downs here near midfield for BC.
Jurkovec launches this one, middle of the field behind the defenders, and caught Jaden Williams. He had 3 defenders back there with him, and he beat them all, James.
You saw Zay Flowers on his touchdown catch, the focus and concentration with the defender hanging all over him. You're going to have more of the same here from Jaden Williams, who had a touchdown against Rutgers. Trying to recover and just getting the picture, getting to face Shakur Smalls, throws those hands up. Williams sees right through it, looks that football in, and knocking on the door of the BC Eagles one more time with a 1st and goal.
53 yards on the catch by Jaden Williams. Closing in on the final minute of the first quarter. BC goes to the back corner of the end zone. It's a touchdown to Takis. The diving catch on the BC tight end.
You know, again, quick with this snap, and what do you get? You get a defense that's reeling a little bit and a bust in the defense, a defense that has really played some disciplined football to this point as far as assignments go. There's a big bust, and it's an easy pitch and catch touchdown. Jurkovec to Takis.
How about our 4th lead change of the quarter? Takis has his first touchdown catch of the season. Jurkovec now with 2 TD passes in the game. And he's now up to 30 in his BC career. So Boston College goes 5 plays and 75 yards. And the big 53-yard play to Jaden Williams, who beat that Maine secondary. And Takis celebrates the TD catch.
Yeah, a little bit different from an ACC game we watched earlier today. Your alma mater, in the first half anyway, the Syracuse Orange and Purdue. It was 9-3 at halftime.
The teams combined for 42 points in the 4th quarter, right, Jen?
This has been nothing but fireworks here in the first quarter of this one.
James, you want to check some impact players brought to you by your local Toyota dealers? After the kick, we'll do it, okay?
Yeah, let's wait till after the kick. Then I would love to.
Okay.
I hate doing it before the kick.
I'm looking forward to it. An exciting first quarter of action between Maine and Boston College. Teams have not played since 2015. That was a win for BC here at Alumni Stadium, 24-3. That was the first game of the season back in 2015. Ewing, who had a 73-yard return on his previous run back. This one's a little more modest as Davian Crouch has the special teams tackle. 1:06 to go in our first quarter, and here are those Toyota impact players.
Sure, why not? There you go. There's Sean Bowman, who's already scored a touchdown tonight. There, the 5 catches, a big week last week against Colgate in the loss. And Cam Arnold and those linebackers behind that big defensive front. It gives them the opportunity to be very active, sideline to sideline, making big plays, coming and putting pressure on the quarterback as well.
Elijah Barnwell, a graduate student from Piscataway, New Jersey, and a transfer from Rutgers. Penalty flag on the play. Our referee is Nate Black tonight. Thomas Considine is our replay official.
After the play was over, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, offense, number 76. Tony is half the distance to the goal. The down counts. It's second down.
So that's Tyree Francois. And he's just fallen on him late. Tyree out last week.
He pushed your Toyota Impact player for BC, James, Cam Arnold.
I guess so. It's not for sale, Francois, not for $1 billion trillion.
12 tackles for Cam Arnold a week ago to lead the team in a career high. Gatto almost threw an interception there.
Almost picked off twice.
Very, very close.
Yeah.
Jalen Blackwell's number 8 for BC might have had a chance at this one.
Boy, lucky to get this play back. You know, first it goes through the just a little bit too high for Blackwell. You know, just be careful here. This Maine Black Bear offense. Don't try to get too fancy. You dodged a little bullet there. Don't turn it over and give this BC team great field position. They'll run it.
Maine just 23% on third down in the early part of the season. Things are getting physical down there, as you predicted, James. Maine is not going to back down from BC. Players trying to keep their composure here in the final few seconds of this.
Able to stay on the football field on offense, and the one category you don't see up there is that of the special teams. They have been a huge factor in this game here early in the first quarter. You got to clean things up a little bit, especially on the BC side. Gave up the big kickoff return, the short punt. Want to make this Maine team earn it and drive the field every time they get the ball.
Cooey gets it away on the punt from Maine. Flowers at the 41. Onto the Maine side of the 50, about the 46 or 7 yard line for Zay Flowers on the return for Boston College. While we have a moment, let's get a message from Wrangler.
It's in all of us. The courage to go all in. Wrangler, for the ride of love.
Opening moments of our second quarter. Boston College with a 14-10 lead. Jurkovec with a couple of TD passes in that first quarter. And more on the third-year head coach for the Eagles, Jeff Hafley. Let's go down to Lauren.
Thanks so much, Wormy. Yeah, you guys were talking a little bit earlier just about the honest conversation we were having with Jeff Hafley. And one of the things I just saw down here on the sidelines, he said yesterday that when the team's at his worst, that's when he needs to be at his best, the most positive, the most supportive. And you see that after every single play, every drive, constantly encouraging his players to get more and more every play.
Yeah.
Zay Flowers getting a little more there, Bates.
That's kind of nice right there. And he learned that, Lauren, from Dave Wanstead. The guy he says he looks up to more than anybody in his coaching career. Anytime the going gets rough, he thinks back to his days under Dave Wanstead. It's exactly what he did as a leader.
Yeah, from 2006 to 2010, Hafley a defensive assistant at Pitt under Wanstead. Hafley's got NFL experience as well with the 49ers and Browns and Buccaneers. Also was the defensive coordinator for the Big Ten champs. Ohio State 2019, played in the college football playoff that year as well. Last year they went 6-6, James. Unfortunately, their military bowl game was canceled. And that was against East Carolina. But they've been bowl eligible for 6 straight years, and this is the 3rd year for Hafley.
There goes Broom. How about Alex Broom?
Refusing to go down, coming up short of the line to gain near the 19.
You know, and both Hafley and his offensive coordinator, John McNulty, they said, I'd like to see these freshman backs get involved here. Here's a young guy. And Broom, out of Nashville, Tennessee, went to Lipscomb High School and actually played his high school ball for Trent Dilfer. Guy knows a little bit about calling some offensive plays, huh?
Broom getting his first carries of the season tonight. In place of Garwo for a couple of repetitions here. 3rd and short for Boston College. Eagles 3 of 5 on 3rd down. Jurkovec to the air. Flowers in space to the 10. More than enough needed, and that should be 1st and goal for BC. Benito Spate toppled Flowers. So dangerous out of the edge.
Well, and nobody knows it more, Tom, than Benito Spate. He was on the coverage on the 51-yard touchdown. You know, you're on him too tight. He blows off that line of scrimmage 100 miles an hour, and he runs right by you. You play him too loose, and Jurkovec sees him over there, gets him the football right now, and lets him make plays in the open field. A special athlete there catching that football, and he's been very active in the first quarter and now into the second. And it's 1st down and goal for the BC Eagles.
21 receiving yards on this drive for Flowers. That's going to be Williams. Williams to the end zone and a touchdown for Boston College.
Here comes 0. Jaden Williams on the jet sweep. Big blocks from some stars like Takis and, oh yeah, his buddy in the receiver room, Zay Flowers, down there blocking as well. An excellent job. BC gets the football and drives it right down the field. An 11-point lead for the Eagles now. 12 left in the second.
Jeff Hafley's team has scored touchdowns on 3 straight drives. The most recent, Jaden Williams, 9 yards and a TD run.
Lauren Jabara told you earlier how unselfish Zay Flowers is. Look at him fight when he down into the end zone to get his guys off of him to make sure that his buddy Jaden Williams can run in. And great blocking that you didn't see right there from George Takis, who's also had a handful of catches in this game. But no block, no rock is a saying in a lot of those receiver rooms. And if you're not hustling when you don't have the football, you don't get it quite as much when it comes time to toss it around. So 3 straight drives with a touchdown now for the Eagles. They need to make sure they back this one up. We saw a 73-yard return on a kickoff just moments ago from that guy right there for Maine, Trevon Ewing. Got to make sure they cover this time.
Longman kicks it away. Ewing taken down shy of the 15 as we check in with Lauren Jabara.
Thanks so much, Wormy. Joe Fagiano lining up under center right now. I talked to him a little bit earlier this week about growing up in his family. He said he has 2 brothers, Jake and Jared, who are 10 and 9 years older than him. They both played football at Penn State University. He said he remembers them coming home for Thanksgiving or Christmas, and they played knee football. Guys, I don't know if you've ever heard about this. Knee football is when his brothers were on their knees, and him and his buddy played full tackle football because they were like half their size. He said that's how he learned his competitive spirit, is from his brothers and then picking on him being older. But knee football, guys, that's where it all started for Joe Fagiano.
I'll bet you there were some bloody noses and some crying going on too there. Wow, nice play.
Surprised.
Absolutely nice play in the open field as that ball goes to Sean Bowman. But yeah, you imagine a guy, you know, I mean, a lot of these coaches too, guys, when they go and recruit players, I mean, they have older brothers that, you know, that are athletes, or older sisters that are athletes. And, you know, when the younger sibling can't help but try to scrap and compete, can't help but being tough. So, you know, you've got some toughness with those older brothers in there.
Jason Maitre made that last tackle for Boston College. Fagiano on the run. Gets rid of it at the 25. The catch is made. And that's Montego Moss, Lauren.
Yeah, you talked about that physicality. Joe also grew up in a family that was really good at sports. His dad was drafted by the Phillies, played in the minors for a few years, and then his older brother ended up walking on to Penn State football team, got a scholarship while he was there, and his other brother played both football and baseball at Penn State. And so Joe said, I guess this is just my time. They actually talk after every single game.
Well, how about this? There's Fagiano, complete. This time to Xavier Scott. And while you were talking about all in the family, Montego Moss with a nice play as well. That's a son of Randy Moss. So a lot of football, a lot of athletic families here tonight.
Moss played right here in New England for the Patriots. Down the road in Foxborough, Massachusetts. The last play went for 20 yards for Maine. This is Scott again on the catch. How about this game plan, James, by the Maine Black Bears?
Well, and this shows why it was such a huge penalty on Tyree Francois earlier. The personal foul penalty. When you had the momentum going, you had a defense on their heels, and they're able to back it up, second down and short again here.
Little dump off midfield. Freddie Brock. Freddie goes out of bounds at about the 41, forced out by Cam Arnold. Junior from Rochester, New York, Freddie Brock, for his first-year head coach, Jordan Stevens.
Yeah, get the young man a garbage plate at Nick Tahoe's. If anybody's been to Rochester, New York, they know that's the dish there. Junior.
Coach Stevens, by the way, 30 years old, from Farmington, Maine. Lauren told you about his story, and James followed up. Always wanted to be a Black Bear, and now he's leading them here in Chestnut Hill. Leading that defensive effort against Freddie Brock is Vinny DePalma.
Yeah, making him pay. I mean, very shifty in the backfield. Makes one guy miss, does Brock, but he puts those feet on the ground and putting his face mask right in his chest is number 42, the graduate student, the linebacker for BC. Need a little bit more of that. Been gashed a little bit too much up the middle, this defense. They're putting a stop to it, 42, and making it a second down and long. Let's see if they can back it up here and force a third down and long.
Inside of 9 minutes to go in the second quarter. Play fake. Pressure down at midfield. Marcus Valdez in the grill of Fagiano. Loss of 9 on the play, James.
Immediately. How about getting off the spot, ripping that shoulder under the tackle, Kevin Jones. Marcus Valdez there on the left of your screen, rips underneath. Great technique and relentless pursuit to drop Fagiano. And now it's a third down, and not just long, but very long, as this Black Bear offense still looking for their first third down conversion.
Fagiano heaves it. Does not have a receiver in the vicinity. A flag came out, James, late, the tail end of that play. Valdez put the pressure on Fagiano. And again, there is a marker on the field on that third and long play for the Maine Black Bears.
There is no foul for an ineligible receiver downfield. It's fourth down.
So Nate Black telling us there is no foul, and it's fourth down.
So Zay Flowers, I'd do my best here. Brian Cooey in Maine to try to keep it away from number 4. So dangerous.
Flowers with 5 catches in the game for 83 yards and a touchdown. On the return for BC. He's going to fake out the Maine coverage team as it bounces into the end zone.
You know, Tom, usually...
ACC football is brought to you by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of North Carolina and Yellowwood. If it doesn't have this yellow tag, you don't want it.
Boston College has the lead in the second quarter. It has won 6 in a row in the series, all home games here at Alumni Stadium. For the Eagles, Zay Flowers has a touchdown catch of 51 yards in our game, and you want to stick around for halftime. Lauren Jabara has more on the family life of Zay Flowers and his extended family and support system. Just a wonderful young man in a Boston College uniform, exemplifies everything that Eagle football is all about. The athletic side, James, the academic side, everything that goes into being on this team on this campus here in Chestnut Hill, Massachusetts. Boston College had a rushing touchdown from Jaden Williams on their last possession. First rushing TD of the season for the Eagles. Garwo weaving his way, 25 and more. Not quite to the 30, which is the line to gain. Good looking play on first down for Garwo.
Yeah, it really was, Tom. And again, the vision and the patience of Garwo. That play is supposed to come out this side a little bit more. But again, Maine has done a good job of recognizing those pullers and stuffing it. Garwo checking down.
Garwo, the ball carrier, had 7 touchdown rushes a season ago to lead the Eagles, as they went 6-6 and 2-6 in conference play. Remember last year, James, they won their first 4 games of the year, and that's their first year offensive coordinator, John McNulty.
Right there, yep. Down on the field for the first time. First 2 games he was up in the booth. Didn't like it very much.
He did not like it. He told us. Jurkovec going deep down the sideline. His receiver Flowers had a step, but the ball was too far for Zay Flowers. Shakur Smalls was back there for Maine.
Really enjoyed our talk with Tim Lukabu, of course, Jeff Hafley, and John McNulty yesterday. And one thing he said, not only the leadership of guys like Zay Flowers and Jurkovec, but spoke so highly of the leader that Pat Garwo is. A high-level leader, he calls him. And good to see him running that football a little bit better here tonight.
Up past the 35-yard line for the Eagles, Lewis Bond. Number 11, the redshirt freshman from Chicago, Illinois. There's a Maine player behind the action who was shaken up. Heard those whistles. They'll spot that ball at the 39 of Boston College. So glad that you're with us for ACC football on a Saturday night in prime time from Chestnut Hill, Massachusetts. Tom Wormy, James Bates, Lauren Jabbar is on the sidelines with our outstanding ACC college football production crew. 4 of 6 on third down for the Eagles. Jurkovec has to freelance. Incomplete. Too high for the receiver, Jaden Williams.
Pressure there on Jurkovec in a hurry, and again, good job of bottling him up. He can't slip out of there. Jurkovec can hurt you a little bit. He's not a true blazer, but he can hurt you with his legs. Good coverage down the field as well. Maine needs to be careful in a situation like this. You got to be alert anytime a punt in a short yardage situation like this near midfield. Just be alert for that fake.
Danny Longman looking to redeem himself, James. Punting for the Eagles. High and deep to Jacob Henney. That'll bounce near the 20. Henney went after the football, and they take him down just beyond the 15-yard line. We're late in the second quarter, 21-10 BC.
Back at Alumni Stadium, Eagles up 21-10, and what a week it's been for Boston College long snapper Gunnar Daniel. He spent his freshman year at Ball State, then 3 years at Wagner. Last year, earned the starting role as long snapper out of preseason camp, played all 12 games for Boston College, and this week has been really special. So on Wednesday, they had a scholarship dinner with all of the donors for the team, and the next day they show up to practice, and Jeff Hafley says, I'm really disappointed in one guy who didn't show up to the fundraising dinner. And he called up Gunnar Daniel, and he's like, man, you're really disappointing me after everything I've done for you.
5-yard penalty, first down.
After everything that I've done for you, and you don't show up to the scholarship dinner. And he said, Coach, I'm not on scholarship. And Coach Jeff Hafley said, well, now you are. And all of the players, all of the coaches went nuts. He said, this is one of the hardest working players. Phenomenal kid. He's going to be a star in whatever he does in life. And he deserves it. So pretty cool story for Boston College long snapper Gunnar Daniel, and also pretty incredible mullet, Batesy. I feel like you should grow one of those things on your own.
Wow, and that's a real deal mullet. Some guys will have a mullet, Lauren. You know, it's more like a male model, like European look. That is straight like Mississippi mudflat, Kentucky waterfall mullet. I'm disappointed. You know what I'm disappointed about is that he wasn't on the media guide in the schedule, the poster schedule. I mean, look at him. They say he's listed at 5'9", and I'm not sure he's 5'9", but man, he's got a whole lot of heart, and what a great story. Thanks for telling that, Lauren.
Really awesome to hear that from Coach Jeff Hafley.
Great moment for that young man this week. He's got the Scully.
He's got like the Rambo bandana. You know, right before we went to break, he was down there with the after the punt, after he snapped it, he was down there mixing it up a little bit. Big week for him. These long snappers. There's always a spot for a long snapper on the bus, ladies and gentlemen. Don't forget that, kids. And that's these guys that work at it. They spend a lot of time on it. And now here's another situation for these Black Bears. A tough one on 3rd down and forever.
0 for 4 on 3rd down in the game. You can make it 0 for 5 as that one falls incomplete. Looking for Barnwell for Figiano. And it's 4th down. Earlier in this series, James, Elijah Jones, cornerback for Boston College, almost had the pick in the easy alley to the end zone too. So Cooey will come out for his 4th punt of the game. His last one was 50 yards. So here's Brian Cooey. I saw his family at the hotel getting prepared to come over to the game. A lot of Maine folks coming to support the Black Bears. He'll kick it to Jalen Gill, standing at his 45 as you look at it from the end zone as Cooey gets it away. On the ground, Gill watches it go by. Takes a nice roll for the Black Bears inside the 30. So with 4:56 to go in the quarter, Phil Jurkovec and the Eagles lead the Black Bears 21-10.
Transfer from Notre Dame, and that includes, you know, some injuries that he had to play through. Last year he missed 6 starts after he was injured in the first quarter against UMass.
And Matt Ryan also on that list, who took BC to a couple of ACC title games. Jurkovec 164 yards tonight, 2 TDs for Jurkovec. He is up to 30 career passing TDs.
This is a big set of downs right here for this Maine Black Bear defense. If they can find a way to get a stand and go into the halftime locker room only trailing by 11 points, it's a huge win. They do get the kickoff to open the second half.
Cam Barfield, sharp cut for the freshman from Las Vegas, Nevada, for a modest gain on 1st down for the Eagles.
Yeah, nice job by Xavier Mitchell there on the back door, and that is where the front half of that defense, look at that feather, little feather in his cap. Surely that's not an accident. Is it an eagle feather? It came out in warm-ups with it, we were being told. I like it. All right. Transfer from Arkansas Pine Bluff with a nice stop.
Jurkovec got it away. Showing confidence and composure from the pocket to hit Jalen Gill, and beating Smalls in that secondary for the Black Bears.
Yeah, that's a long throw and a scary throw if you don't have that big strong gun like Jurkovec. Nice protection for him, but able to throw it out there and right on time for Jalen Gill to move those chains.
19 yards on the pass play for Phil Jurkovec. Wants to throw it again. Looking left all the way, and it's too high for Flowers. Flowers has one of those TD catches. Jurkovec a little bit of post-whistle frustration as they missed on that one. He hit on 51 yards to Flowers, who did the final 10 yards of the work by himself, dragging a defender to the end zone.
Yeah, kind of interesting. You haven't really seen that much emotion, like that much frustration out of Phil Jurkovec when he's been chased all over the football field, when he's been hit on quite a bit. That time, the last couple snaps, he's had plenty of protection. So guys not on the same page, quarterback and receiver right there. You can see through the frustration.
That's a high percentage pass. Lewis Bond, stiff arm, 40-yard line. Flag is out. Penalty marker is out, and Bond out of bounds inside the 35-yard line. Josh Lezen, senior, on the tackle for Maine.
Defensively, you had two guys jump outside trying to force him back in. It just created a nice lane for him.
Personal foul, face mask, defense, number 23. 15-yard penalty added to the end of the run. First down.
You see it. Gets him right there and pulls him down. That's Shakur Smalls. Been very active in this game. The sophomore from Philly. A costly penalty right there, and two personal foul penalties against this Maine squad in the first half have been really big ones to help out BC.
4 penalties against Maine for 44 yards. Bond came into the game, James, with just 1 catch for 6 yards. He's got 2. This play stopped by whistles. Barfield was the ball carrier.
This is a 30-second timeout.
So Boston College taking the timeout with 3:09 on the game clock. Coach Hafley is 7-6 as the head coach of the Eagles here at Alumni Stadium. 12-13 overall in his 3rd year on the BC sideline. Well, we have a second. Let's get a message from Works Nitro.
Meet Works Nitro. Powerful tools for any project with gas-like power without the gas. Fueled by PowerShare batteries to give you the power to outperform.
1st and 10 for the Eagles. Just inside the red zone. They're 2 for 2 in the red zone. Coming into the game, they've been 4 for 4 in the red zone on the season, James, with 3 touchdowns. They did struggle offensively last week against Virginia Tech, just 155 yards of total offense, and they've got more points tonight than they did against Virginia Tech. They were only able to get 10 in the losing effort against the Hokies.
First down of the game, Tom, was the 8th drive, and it was in the 2nd quarter, so it was way too long before they got the ball moving. A little bit better play in the 2nd half, though, for the offense.
Jurkovec with the time, delivers at the 15. Joseph Griffin, the freshman from Springfield, Massachusetts, had to adjust to that football, and his first catch of the night.
Yeah, and adjust, he did an excellent job. Griffin looked that ball in on his back hip. You know, that has been unlike Jurkovec. A few passes kind of off the mark, hasn't been, you know, really in the rhythm. You know, lathered up and just kind of slinging that football around and putting it right on the right spots. Able to complete that one, but you put it right out in front of a talented Griffin. There's no telling what he does with it after it, but a nice job to catch it. Moving forward.
Jurkovec looking down by the goal line. Right near the 1-yard line to Takis, who has a touchdown catch in the game. Jurkovec, as we play late in this quarter, is over 200 yards passing for the game in the first half.
Good protection by that offensive line that has shored things up a little bit. And I'm sure some of it has to do with the Maine defense. It's getting a little bit gassed here early on. They had some vinegar to them. They were back there in the face of Jurkovec on every single snap. That hasn't been the case here on the last couple of drives.
First and goal for the Eagles, just beyond the 1-yard line, going right up the middle. Garwo in for the touchdown for Boston College.
Well, that's the BC football folks around here knowing love. You've got the big hosses up front. There's nothing else to do but hand it to a strong back. And look at the the pop by those guys up front, taking it to the defensive front of Maine and punching it in.
First rushing touchdown of the season for Pat Garwo after leading the team with 7 rushing TDs a season ago. And Boston College increases its lead to 28-10 with 1:08 to go in the second quarter.
Yeah, that's more like it, says Pat Garwo, who only had 4 total yards, believe it or not, in that Virginia Tech game. You mentioned earlier the 1,000+ yards last year. He had 4 100-yard rushing games a year ago. And Jurkovec starting to spread it around a little bit, smiling and waving over there here in the first half. What a difference a weekend makes.
So Jurkovec with a couple of TD passes and handing off to the junior from Levittown, Pennsylvania, Pat Garwo, who slams it in from short yardage for the BC touchdown. James, you mentioned last year Garwo 4 times over 100 yards rushing in a game. How about his game against Missouri, a win for BC? 175 yards rushing and a career high last season against the Tigers for Garwo. Ewing made a shifty move with the 25 and up near the 30 for Ewing. Dangerous on the return. Cole Batson, special teams tackle, Boston College. 31 yards on the return. So exactly 1 minute to go in our second quarter. And Garwo the finishing touches on that drive. And here's our 5-star drive summary. It's brought to you by Yellowwood, Bates.
There you go. Get out those DeWalt tools. That's a nice combination. And make yourself something with some Yellowwood. Shoot. 8 plays, 71 yards. Just under 4 minutes and only a minute left to play here in this first half now.
That appeared to be deflected on the pass attempt by Fregiano. He has a touchdown pass in the game. 17 yards in the first quarter to Sean Bowman.
And here's the deflection, and you like to see this offense coming back out here, not planning on taking a knee and taking it into the halftime locker room. Jordan Stevens letting him sling it around a little bit, but Clemens a good job of getting that paw up there and batting down the ball. That mirror drill. If you're not going to get to that quarterback, you separate with those hands and get him up there and bat it down.
It's a run up the middle. Banks. First down Maine. Their last 3 drives have resulted in punts, but it's Banks taking that one up the middle. 11 yards on the gain for Maine.
Good job by Maine. Sense of urgency. Be over the ball. Here's the snap.
Out past the 45-yard line, and the catch made by Moss. Diving grab. Fully extending to get that pass from Fregiano.
Unable to get out of bounds. He falls down inside. The clock will continue to run as they get set here for the second down now.
8 of 15 and 69 yards passing. Fregiano back to the air. That play at midfield. Moss was the receiver. So the clock stops with 19 seconds to go in this game, in this half. 4 lead changes early in the game. In fact, Maine got a 45-yard field goal from Cole Baker to open the scoring. 0 for 5 on 3rd down in the game for the Black Bears.
This would be a big one right here if they can move these chains. And BC still with 2 timeouts left.
This will be Banks into the BC secondary. Second level. First down for Banks inside the 45-yard line. 14 seconds now.
Nice job by Banks to turn north and south and go get you some yards, and nice use of that timeout. They'll have 2 remaining, but of course the clock was going to stop as they reset those chains. But go talk it over a little bit, see if you can at the very least get a field goal out of this. And a good job. Steele had the penetration, but Banks wasn't coming down easy. Ran right by him.
10 yards on the run by Banks and a timeout taken. Each team with 2 timeouts to go in this half. 14 seconds on the game clock.
You know, a lot of times there, as a defender, you get back there and the gate's open and you you got to act like you expect to be back there and make the play. Even if Steele goes back there and whiffs on a tackle, it still disrupts everything in a situation like that. It's what penetration does. So here we go, fresh set of downs, but only 14 seconds left.
Maine trying to harvest some points late in the half. Fagiano gets away from one defender, dragged down at the 41 of the Black Bears. Probably forced to use another timeout in this situation.
Nice job. The coverage there by the secondary. And the pressure finally gets there. The pocket just collapses on Joe Fagiano.
So Maine has taken its second timeout, James. 6 seconds on the game clock.
There's another look at it. 4, and there's the late rusher in Cam Arnold. And forces the quarterback to leave, and the chippiness continues there after the whistles are blown. No flag right there, but we've seen him in those piles a little bit here. The guys from Maine want to make sure that they come down and play some tough smash mouth physical football, and BC of course take exception to that. They're supposed to be the tough guys around here in New England.
Maine last posted a victory in this series way back in 1915. In fact, they won 3 in a row to start the series. One at home in Orono, Maine, 14-0 against the Eagles. Whistle stops play. Timeout, Boston College.
Timeout, Boston College.
Okay.
This is 30-second timeout.
These teams right down to the final seconds of this first half, James, getting after one another.
There you see top of the screen, the whistles are blowing, and
that's Sean Bowman who has the touchdown catch, James. Getting physical there with the BC secondary and Josh DeBerry.
Yeah, but that's silly. It's, you know, we've seen it earlier with the personal foul penalty, the late hit in the pile by the offensive lineman from Maine. You know, yeah, you want to be tough out there, but do it in between the whistle. Don't cost your team 15 yards. Here we go, 7 seconds remaining in the half.
Second down. Fagiano out of bounds. Catch made at the 33-yard line. Montego Moss.
Cole Baker already has a 45-yard field goal in this one. There's the completion and little extra shove, and shoot, that one may have deserved a flag as he goes over the bench. Very dangerous. Moss okay. He pops up smiling, but see, again, you got to be careful. And both of these coaches, these head coaches, need to remind their teams at halftime, you know, let's be smart. Let's not hurt our team just by trying to, because your ego's bruised a little bit because somebody pushed you around.
Coach Stevens has used his last time out of the half, James, for Maine with 3 seconds on the clock, and the ball is at the 33 of Boston College. So you got a chance to heave one to the end zone if you so choose. A field goal and a touchdown pass. Fagiano to Bowman, representative of the scoring in the first half for Maine. BC has 2 TDs through the air and 2 on the ground. Here we go. Final 3 seconds of our first half. Maine out of timeouts on what in all likelihood will be the final play of the second quarter. Fagiano throws it down towards the end zone. Easy interception. Boston College in the end zone. So Jason Maitre was back there to field that pass, and again, there's a lot of discussion. And now the teams meeting it.
Up the second half, I said, Coach, what was your biggest message in the locker room? He said, belief. When you're playing a team like this, you have to believe that you can make tackles, believe that you can make plays, believe that you can come back. So expect to see a lot of that belief here from the Black Bears in the second half.
Jabara, you're right. Stevens, a standout in his playing days at Maine. And now leading the Black Bears, first-year head coach Jordan Stevens, just 30 years old. Coming out of the end zone, Ewing. He had a 73-yard return on special teams. And when Coach Hafley was going off the field, James, he mentioned those two special teams breakdowns, a poor punt by Longman and the 73-yard return by Ewing that led to points.
Absolutely. So important, that third phase of the game, and they've been lucky to get out of there with the poor special teams play and have the lead at 28-10. But another thing that he said to Lauren was he was in those officials' ears and saying, you guys got to start throwing some flags. So both of these coaches need to remind their team not to play after the whistle, because the squeaky wheel gets the grease, and they will throw a few flags. They won't hold it in their pocket here in this second half, believe me.
9 of 18 through the air to start the third quarter for Figliano. And that pass is complete up near the first down marker, just short of it, as he hit Rohan James.
Andrew Dressner, the offensive coordinator, and a guy that Tem Lukabu said, I've got a lot of respect for this offensive coordinator. He does a lot of different things with this offense. And here he comes, first play of the second half, changing it up a little bit. Now they'll give you a pistol look, but he's rolling Figliano out. You know, give him some time. This senior, very heady ball player.
So Jones got the first down on the previous catch, and they go back to the ground with Barnwell. Maine had 42 rushing yards in that first half, 81 yards through the air for Figliano, the senior from Williamsport, Pennsylvania. Touchdown pass of 17 yards in the first quarter to Sean Bowman. Second TD pass of the season for Figliano. Black Bears out of the football championship subdivision in the Colonial Athletic Association, as that is incomplete. Bowman was the intended receiver.
And a dangerous pass here as he tries to let Bowman give him enough time to come across that field. And the pressure and the drop, and a good job too, putting the pop on to Palma, but not getting a roughing the passer call. Let him know you're there, and he certainly did, as he had to hurry that ball a little bit and too high. Lucky it actually hit the turf. So here's a 3rd down and 7. Let's see if this Eagle defense can make a big stand and get the ball back in the offense's hands to start this second half now.
Just 1 for 6 so far in this situation from Maine. And that is incomplete on the sideline as well. Xavier Scott, intended receiver. Elijah Jones defensively for Boston College, and it's 4th down.
Sideline wanted a flag there. They won't get it. No PI. And the last 4 drives for Maine, after the help from special teams and the nice fast start, has been punt, 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 interception. And now we go back to another punt. So good job by that BC defense to get off the field, get the offense back out there.
Jalen Gill is deep, comes up to meet it, 36-yard line. Trying to stretch it out. Back the other way at the 40 and grabbed around the waist and dragged down. So Phil Jurkovec in the first half, 15 of 20, James, 219 yards and a couple of TD passes for Jurkovec, who is now up to 30 career touchdown passes.
And I'm curious to see here early in this second half, after this defense has gotten some rest, got some Gatorade there in the halftime locker room, what exactly it was there in that second quarter. Was it the offensive line starting to play together as a unit, or was it the defensive front that's a little bit tired with not quite as much depth as you have as a place like Boston College?
Jaden Williams trying to turn that corner up near the 45-yard line. Xavier Nurse, tackle for Maine. Jaden Williams has a 9-yard TD run. Salamoni also in on the play, 44 for Maine.
One of a few Maine kids on this team, just like their head coach, Raphael Salamoni from Portland, Maine, during high school. Here's a 2nd down and 7 now.
Jurkovec gets rid of it. Takis. Plenty of room to run. 20-yard line. Takis reaching for the end zone. And just barely out of bounds, shy of the goal line. There is a penalty marker behind the play.
I like the play call by McNulty. Here's the tail end of it. Nice hustle play, and he doesn't quite look like the plane or the pylon. Nice hustle play to make sure you save the touchdown.
Penalty from the spot of the foul. Still first down.
Wow, and I really like the play call by McNulty here, because one thing that they definitely set up in that first half was pulling those big bodies, the counter look, those big offensive linemen, and those linebackers see color cross like that, they're going to get there in a hurry and fill. And as you saw, they did a good job of shutting it down. But this time, you run a little play action off of it, and then you roll out Jurkovec, and nobody is left home for Takis. So not quite as much damage is done, but it is a first down for this offense, and they'll move it back to the 30 instead of knocking on the door once again.
That would have been a 54-yard play. The penalty brings the ball back to the 30. Garwo on the carry. Yeah, that's Williams out in front, James, with the penalty.
Yeah, just got those hands wrapped around and out in space like that right in front of the official. It's too easy for the official to throw that flag. And that is, if I'm not mistaken, the first penalty of the game. #1 on Boston College. Yes. A costly one as it backs him up, and now it's 2nd down and 9 for Hafley's bunch.
Eagles 0-2 for the first time since 2011. Jurkovec. That'll sail out of bounds, looking for a twisting Zay Flowers. Shakur Smalls back there with Flowers. It's just the 2nd time that BC is 0-2 to start the season since 1994.
All right, defensively, know where they're trying to break those routes off, and you know this might be a situation here where it's 4-down territory as well. Just don't give up the big play defensively. That 20-yard line is where that marker is.
5 of 8 on 3rd down. Jurkovec to the end zone, just knocked away at the last second, looking for Williams. And it was Kazir Brown just poked it away at the last moment.
Oh, nice job by Kazir Bugs Brown. He's beat. Williams is by him right now. If I'm even, I'm leaving, and I'm going in a hurry. And there's nothing you can do when you're beat like that except for put your head down and sprint and try to disrupt it, and he does just that. Doesn't peek back, and he rakes it away.
Connor Linton out for the field goal for the Eagles. And that is right down Broadway. Able to harvest 3 points, 31-10. The BC lead after the field goal from Connor.
Go and keep it going. Oh, shoot. I just knew that me and Tina Bates were going to be seen on the duck tour. We took a duck tour in Boston 2 days ago. Oh, man, I just knew we were going to pop up. What a bummer.
Bates, you had a nice trip up to New England this week, huh?
Oh, did we ever.
There'll be no trip out of the end zone for Maine. It's a wonderful part of the country. And Lauren has more from the sidelines. Hold on a second. Hold on a second, Lauren. BC and Maine, face mask to face mask once again. Some hard-nosed Northeast football. Goodness.
I'm surprised, and again, there's Hafley right out there demanding a flag, and you know that one right about, it looked as that ball went out into the end zone out of bounds, so maybe right at the whistle. But again, you got to be careful. You got to be careful. So you get a flag there, you're starting at your own goal line instead of up here at the 25.
Got to keep your poise, Bates. Football, a game of emotion, trying to play between the whistles, as Coach Hafley said, as Barnwell gets the carry. Send it down to Lauren.
See, so duck tours, okay? I absolutely love them, but when did they like discover how to make a car also float in the water? So the first time I ever went on one, I think I was like 8 years old with my family. I started bawling my eyes out because I'm like, why is this car driving into the water? Did you guys have fun? Was it good?
Absolutely, and it was, the answer is World War II. That was the vehicles were all used in World War II. That could go on the land and then in the water as well. Here's a little flea flicker.
Oh, trick-a-razzle near the 40. Up to make the catch is Scott. He's on the run. BC trying to chase him down, and they finally trip him up at the 24-yard line. Dazzleration from Maine.
I love the play call by Dressner, the offensive coordinator. Hey, we're not going anywhere. Not going to fold up this tent just because it's 21-10 on the road here on Chestnut Hill. Flea flicker, very, very close to being a disaster, but instead, it's exactly what you need for these Black Bears. And how about Xavier Scott changing gears a couple times to run away from those defenders of Boston College.
48 yards on the play for the Black Bears. That's deflected and knocked to the turf. Cam Horsley with a piece of that one on the pass attempt from Joe Fagiano. It's Marcus Valdez favoring that left arm, James.
Yeah, maybe that not so funny bone. I mean, he left earlier. Yeah, he maybe got hit right there weird in that elbow, or a stinger of sorts. But earlier it looked like he was favoring his hand. But he's fun to watch when he's healthy and getting after those quarterbacks. He's so quick out of that stance. Good defensive front here for Temlukabu.
Barnwell on the run. Scott, who had that long pass play for Maine, leads the way with 4 catches and 85 yards. And officially that play went for 49 yards to Scott. Bowman has the touchdown catch. Valdez has to come out. So he'll come out of the lineup for BC.
And hopefully that's all it is just, well, he doesn't seem to go run over to the tent or to the trainers. So he's just catching his breath a little bit as he watches his teammates here on a big 3rd down and 7 there.
3 receivers to his left. Over the middle. Fagiano to the 5. Inside the 5 for Sean Bowman, wrestled to the turf by Jason Maitre. 1st and goal, Maine.
Using that big body Bowman is to wall off the defender. That's the easiest throw for a quarterback to make, and a little bit too easy there down the heart of this BC defense as they go in deep into the CPI red zone now, knocking on the door with a 1st and goal.
This is the longest drive of the game so far for Maine. Barnwell into the pile.
Guess who? Valdez back in there.
It's Ezeraku. Donovan Ezeraku, the sophomore from Williamstown, New Jersey. On that front line for Boston College. He's in there for Silla, who is out with an injury for this game. On the defensive line for the Eagles.
Ezeraku's been playing some good ball too. A young guy. He was just 17 years old when he got here. Came in early. There's a 2nd down.
Fagiano rolls the pocket, launches it to the back corner. It's incomplete. Trying to hook up with Michael Munoz. Elijah Jones defensively for BC. He's a graduate student from New York, New York.
There's the pressure going low on Fagiano, and Jones needs to be careful. Snap that head around. He got that hand in there. They tried to get it to Munoz. No flag though, so a 3rd down and goal now, and a big one here for Jordan Stevens. Maine Black Bear offense trying to chip into this lead a little bit.
Again to the left side, to the goal line, and in for the touchdown for Maine. A quick pass play. And Fagnano has his second TD toss, this time to Montego Moss.
Yeah, and Fagnano's showing you how tough he is. He knows the pressure's coming. The blitz was on. Still stands in there strong and delivers a strike to Montego Moss. The junior out of Charlotte had his first career touchdown against Colgate last week. And here's one that's muy grande in the third quarter against Boston College.
That was a 4-yard pass play. Fagnano to Moss. And he's got his second receiving touchdown of the season and the second TD pass of the game for Joe Fagnano. 31-17. Maine takes it to the end zone here in the third.
On the field, they all want to be heading one direction together. 11 men strong. Said for him, coming back as a head coach, he wanted to make it more of a marking of what we stood for. It's everything within our program, and it's the way that they want to go every single play, every single game, both on the field and off, heading in one direction, guys.
Yeah, absolutely. And they refuse to cave, Lauren. They have fought together going in that one direction. Even though down coming out of halftime, they continue to play hard.
Williams on the return for BC. Not quite to the 20-yard line.
There you go. There's the one direction arrow on the headgear of these Maine Black Bear players.
Also saw the Orono, Maine area code with the outline of the state of Maine in front of that helmet as well.
Can't go any higher, can you?
250 miles north of our position at the moment, James. Orono, Maine. Broom got away from a couple of would-be tacklers in Maine uniforms with inside of 7.5 minutes to go in the third quarter.
Broom's had a few opportunities, and he's been running hard. One of those freshmen the coaches really hoping to get going here in this game, and Broom is running hard. Nice pickup on first down.
Broom got 7 yards on that previous play. This is Broom again.
And this right here, if you can keep this up, you've got guys like Big Durstein getting up there. See him on there on the side of your screen, just blowing guys off into the sidelines. This would be so big for this offense if they can continue to battle on that offensive line and put together a nice, strong rushing attack in the second half. Injured Maine Black Bear. We'll check on them when we come back.
First meeting since 2015 between these two programs here in the Northeast. That was a win for Boston College, 24-3. That's before Jordan Stevens took over as the first-year head coach of the Maine Black Bears. Be sure to stick with us after the third quarter for the fourth, starring James Bates. Brought to you by CPI Security. The fourth is coming your way in about 6 minutes and 55 seconds on the clock.
All right. Well, the last time, by the way, this Maine team has had a win over a Power 5 school. It was 2004. They beat Mississippi State 9-7. Mississippi State and LSU going back and forth. A big battle here tonight, Saturday night.
It's also Maine's only win against the Power 5 team, James. They have 3 other victories against Power 5. It's all Boston College, and those came way back in the early 1900s. They've already played an FBS opponent this season. First game of the year, September 3rd at New Mexico out of the Mountain West, and lost 40-7 for the Black Bears on the road.
Fighting Rocky Longs out there in the Duke City, Albuquerque, New Mexico, huh?
Alex Broom once again. He goes 5'8", 185, the freshman out of Lipscomb Academy, Nashville, Tennessee.
Take a look at these big guys there up front, moving in unison. There's Finn Durstein. He looks pretty good getting up and moving there and getting to the second level. You know, and again, this is 3 starters that are out. Nick Thomas is finally back, but hoping to get a couple of those guys back. They will not get Mahogany back here this year, injured ACL in the offseason.
Caught at the 40, Flowers.
Oh,
He's got first down yardage at the 45.
a little bump out of bounds. No flag, though. Here's the pressure on Jurkovec. And how about this? The hands to go down, flexibility, and secure that football. Go get that first down. Zay Flowers, who had quite the first half.
Abdul Stewart forced Flowers out of bounds. 5:43 to go in the third quarter. We have an ongoing review, we're being told.
Oh, maybe he didn't go down and get it before it hit the turf. There's a look. Now the ball can hit the ground. I think that's a catch. The ball can hit the ground as long as you've got control of it. And it was called, remember, a catch on the field. And from that look right there, I don't know that the ground assisted in the catch so much. It looked to me like he had it strong in those fingers, and it just seemed to kind of touch the ground in the process. But that's the rule, and the ruling on the field, yeah, I think that's a catch.
You must have indisputable video evidence to overturn the call, which on the field, as you've mentioned, James, was catch for Flowers.
After further review, the ruling on the field stands. First down.
6 catches, 93 yards, and a touchdown for Zay Flowers. The ruling will stand in favor of Boston College. First down at the 45.
Yeah, Jeff Hafley says that's my guy coming back and helping us out. We're gonna need to ride that eagle throughout this season. Hoping for some big-time numbers as 5 and 4 continue to hook up.
Jurkovec, little touch on that one. Catch made by Gill and out of bounds. Brown forced him out.
Yeah, and again, miscommunication there defensively. You can't let a guy like Jalen Gill just run right down the middle of the field with nobody within 10 yards of him. They had a touchdown they gave up earlier because of miscommunication.
They got 36 yards on the pass to Gill. That's Takis, who fell awkwardly and couldn't hang on. Lost an ambush defensively.
Yeah, we've had some pretty good names already playing the name game this year on our broadcast. Ambush is one of them. How about that name for a defensive player? Austin Ambush, just with the good clean hit to knock that ball loose and to force a second down and 10.
So despite that incompletion, Phil Jurkovec is over 300 yards passing in this game. 7th time in his career he's done that. Back to the ground. Very little room to run for Alex Broom. Remember, we showed you that list, James, earlier in the game. 300-yard passing games. Names like Doug Flutie and Glenn Foley and Matt Ryan.
Well, and there you see his offensive coordinator in that last shot, John McNulty. You know, he likes the numbers not only for Jurkovec, but when Zay Flowers came back, they wrote down all those career numbers here at BC. Remains on his dry erase board in his office, hoping Zay Flowers can break some school records as well before he heads out of here.
So the Black Bears have called timeout with the ball spotted at the 19 of Maine as we check in with Lauren on the sidelines.
Yeah, you saw Smalls go out there, number 23 on defense for the Black Bears, and he just got out of the tent. He He has his right ankle extremely taped up. He's running back and forth, favoring his left leg a little bit here, but it looks like he's going to be okay to return to the game. No official word at this point, but his right ankle is taped up. He's shuffling back and forth, kind of warming up his right leg here.
All right, Lauren, thank you. And it's a secondary that's already thin. Aaron Geathers with an injury was scratched. Former Boston College player, couldn't go tonight, so they hoping to get him back, that's for sure.
3 for 4 in the red zone for BC. This is going to be a sack. Jurkovec could not pull the trigger, and Darius McKenzie brought Jurkovec down, and the 3rd sack of the game for Maine.
So that's 9 on the season now, and Jurkovec steps up, and at this point he's got to just tuck it and go. That's it. You know, you got that clock in your head as a quarterback, and you got to know that pressure's coming from somewhere. Just fortunately for BC, he holds on to the ball.
39-yard attempt from Connor Linton. He had made one from 46 yards away earlier in the quarter, but that one hooks to the left and misses for Connor Linton, who prior to tonight was 1 of 2 in a make from 30 yards away at Virginia Tech last week. He was 11 of 12 last year kicking for BC. Can't convert that one from 39 yards away.
So some bending, but no breakage there for the Black Hole defense. And how about this? Fignano and the offense trotting back out there with 4 minutes left to go in the 3rd quarter. They can march it down there and score a touchdown. It's a one-score ball game as we near the 4th. So a big drive here for Tim Lukabu's Boston College defense. They'd like to see a nice 3-and-out here or a turnover.
Plenty of room up the middle. First down and more past the 35-yard line for Joe Fignano as he's taken down by Jason Maitre. Inside of 4 minutes to go, Lauren.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of energy right now on the Maine sideline. Players running back and forth in front of the defense saying, great job, D, great job, D. You could just tell they have energy and belief, like head coach Jordan Stevens said they need to bring here in the second half.
Yeah, well, we'll keep an eye, too, on that quarterback, Lauren. He's hobbling after he was brought down, but still in there now. He'll hand it off.
Yeah, came up favoring the right leg after the 15-yard run for Fignano up the middle. Here's the tail end of it. Maitre with a tackle, and that right ankle's underneath Maitre.
Well, you could see the body language. His head snapped back as soon as he went down. Just hoping that it wasn't that bad. There's Derek Robertson, the backup quarterback, the sophomore, warming up.
Banks. 40-yard line. James, inside of 3 minutes to go in the 3rd. This one far from decided here in Chestnut Hill.
Yeah, and you know, if it's to be, if you're a Maine Black Bear fan, you know, you're hoping you can do it with Fignano. Derek Robertson's warming up, just a sophomore, and it was a leg injury last year for Fignano that cut his season short a little bit.
The backup has not seen action so far this season as the pass is off the mark near midfield.
Well, in this one, they'd like to have this one back because a back shoulder try at Sean Bowman, and it was there. Just 2 guys not on the same page, and number 1 will head over to the sidelines and see if he'll be okay to come back out next series while BC makes the stand and then force a punt right here. Be careful.
Yeah, he favored that right ankle on the way off the field, James. And looks like he's in a little bit of discomfort there. We'll keep an eye on it for the next offensive series for Maine. Gill on the line drive. Trying to work down that 30-yard line. Perhaps to the 32-yard line for Jalen Gill on the return for Boston College. With a 31-17 lead. 2:13 to go. As we keep an eye on Joe Fignano, James.
There's one more look at the run. Yeah, and you know, one thing you worry too, you get a guy over on that sidelines and you let it cool down a little bit, and there you go. He gets back up on his feet. He's got to try to keep it warm. You'd like to think if he's to be able to get back in there. One thing you don't want to do is rest it too much. Oh!
Nearly intercepted at the 30-yard line. Close play for the Black Bears. Adrian Otero.
Yeah, Otero just cuts underneath. This route here reads it the whole way. The eyes of Jurkovec. Boy, Boston College lucky they still have the football for a 2nd down and 10. Adrian Otero making his 28th start today. Would have had a huge play.
First Avenue closed down. Second option for Garwo at the 40. Man, he made something out of absolutely nothing there, James, as he ran into a roadblock initially on that play for BC. And now it's 3rd and short.
You know, we've seen the patience in the eyes of Garwo help him out so much in this one. Here he uses the speed as well to get to that edge and get the corner turn, but nothing doing right here.
And Garwo had run it for 9 yards. 3rd and short. Jurkovec driven back. Not sure that the spot will be enough.
I don't think so. It's a nice job by Otero, who dropped the interception 2 plays ago to stand Jurkovec straight up.
Yeah, James stood him up and waited for reinforcements. 6'5", 214 Jurkovec. Got just enough for that first down. The chains are going to move.
You know, this is one thing you got to do as Maine. You got to continue to make them earn it. Make them march down the field. Don't give up those big plays like the 51-yarder. That's when mistakes can happen, when you force a lot of plays from an offense.
Jurkovec, Takis. So Maine did pick up a penalty there, James. It was an illegal substitution penalty against Maine because Jurkovec was short of the first down, but it was a 5-yard penalty.
I was a little bit confused.
So we're caught up.
Thank you for clearing that up.
You got it. My pleasure. Great to be with James Bates, Lauren Jabara, our outstanding ACC college football production crew with you from Chestnut Hill, Massachusetts, just past 10 p.m. on the East Coast. Just a few miles down the road from the historic city of Boston. Flowers. Fenced in and dropped on 2nd down. So now 3rd and long for BC.
Good job to fight there by this Black Bear defense. Dangerous man. We all know that. We've seen it earlier. He had the jet sweep, had some success on it. And nothing doing here. Just swarmed by those white jerseys and dropped for a loss as Zay Flowers. You don't say that very often, but here now you're looking at a 3rd down and 13 as we come to the end of the 3rd quarter. It'll be
ready to start the 4th quarter from Alumni Stadium. Boston College in search of its first win this season. Close call against Rutgers in their first game of the year right here in Chestnut Hill. And a loss 22-21 after leading midway through that 3rd quarter against the Scarlet Knights 21-12. This is 3rd and long for BC. Jurkovec was pressured and got it away. Midfield, 1st down, Alex Sinkfield. The Eagles convert on 3rd and long to start the 4th.
Wow, nice play call by offensive coordinator John McNulty, coming off, flipping the field after that 3rd quarter ended. Got a little break and drew up a nice one with the screen to Sinkfield. Good job by the big guys leading the charge out there.
They got 16 on that play. Back to Sinkfield. Otero on the tackle for Maine.
Adrian Otero coming off that performance against Colgate, where he led the team with 7 tackles, had 63 tackles last year. He's been making some noise here in the 2nd half, trying to keep his Maine football team in this one. Down 2 touchdowns right now.
Black Bears had a couple of interceptions in that losing effort. 21-18 last week at home against Colgate at Alphon Stadium in Orono, Maine. Jurkovec with the time. Through the progression, Sinkfield. Stopped at the 40. Otero again. Maine says it has the football. The officials are not in agreement at the moment.
Yeah, this is good to start with, whether it's a forced fumble or not. Watch 6 in open field. Tough to do. Overruns a little bit, but he regroups and goes and latches on to Sinkfield. Let's see. Oh, this is a fumble. This is a fumble if Maine can stop the clock, and they will. I don't know that Sinkfield.
I didn't see an elbow or a knee down.
Uh-oh. This will be interesting.
Yeah,
They're going to take a look at it here, Tom, and I'm not sure that Hafley and the Eagles are going to like the result of this review. Hold your breath. We'll be right back to Chestnut.
The deliberation continues in a critical moment here in the fourth quarter, the early stages of our final quarter. So that's Otero on the hit, James, initially on Sinkfield.
The legs are on top of Otero.
After further review, the ruling on the field stands. It's third down.
Did you see the right elbow, James? It appeared that the right elbow might have hit.
Or even the left with the ball in that left hand. It might have been the forearm might have been down. And,
the legs are not down. You are right about that.
Well, that's a...
To see the left knee is still elevated above the turf.
So
I think they're looking at his arm.
Big call for the Eagles right there. And yeah, you're right. That right elbow may be the difference. Oh, lucky to dodge that one right there and able to live to see this third down and long now. Jurkovec and the Eagles. Just be careful with it right here. You almost gave up a freebie to the hustling Adrian Otero and this Black Bear defense. Take care of the football, Boston College.
3rd and 9. Throw on the run, 30-yard line. That was Flowers, incomplete. Fourth down for the Eagles.
Just ran out of real estate right there. Jurkovec taking a look at the replay on the big screen. And Maine able to get off of the field one more time and force a punt.
Sam Candotti has come in to punt. Danny Longman had had 3 punts. His longest was 45. He had a short one of just 17. So Candotti wanted to punt. Flags and whistles.
Well, this is going to be...
False start. Offense. Number 5. 5-yard penalty. 4th down.
Yeah, it was a quick shift by that defense to step up in those gaps. You know, a unified effort. And sometimes, if you remember back, if you watched that Pitt West Virginia game, you got a lot of that from the Pitt defenders that was drawing West Virginia offsides back in week 0 or week 1, whatever it was. So just a little bit more room here to punt this one away and try to pin them.
Henny's the deep man. Wants a fair catch, makes it successfully near the 12-yard line. Big field in front of Maine. They've got the football here in the 4th and trailing to Boston College.
And Wrangler for the ride of life.
Prime time at Alumni Stadium on a Saturday evening in the fall here at Chestnut Hill. Our game summary brought to you by Green Machine.
Yeah, and look at those passing yards for the Eagles. 316, 373 the total yards. And like to get the ball going on the ground a little bit more, although we've seen a little bit of spark from guys like Garwo and Groom. And 12:54, plenty of time here in this fourth quarter. Good to see the senior, Joe Fignano, back out there. The captain, it's a quarterback. You saw him go to the sidelines after being banged up just moments ago. Weren't sure if we'd see him again, but he's as tough as they come. You watch that Colgate game, he took some really tough shots in that game, bounced right back up, so I guess you'd expect nothing less. A long way to go, and trailing 31-17.
Fignano has 2 touchdown passes in the game. That's behind the receiver he was looking for, Monios. Flag on the play.
Holding. offense, number 76. Penalty is half the distance to the goal. It's forced down.
You see left your screen here, and it's just, oh, you got the big hook out there. The defender trying to come through there. Who's that? That's Akpala. Nito Akpala from Loganville, Georgia, a sophomore, putting the pressure on and forcing the hold.
That was the 6th penalty on Maine. This is Freddie Brock. Nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. Josh DeBerry on the play.
The difference in this offense when they're on schedule, they're ahead of those chains, and they've had some success on these first down runs, quarterback runs on first down, and it just sets up so nicely for the rest of the drive. But you've seen when they've gone backwards via the penalty especially, it's so hard for them to dig their way out of these holes. There are only so many flea flickers in the book. We saw the big one earlier. They helped to set up the touchdown.
229 yards of total offense. Add a little bit to that for Maine as Monios has the catch. He's the junior from Montreal, Quebec, Canada. Josh DeBerry, the senior, Grosse Pointe Park, Michigan.
All right, 3rd down and 7. This is where it gets kind of interesting here. Tem Lukabu. See if he has a little bit of fun. Nobody walked up just yet. Here they come. They'll bring 4, 5.
Vignano got it away. It's completed to 35. Good looking pass play as Tyrese Baptiste ran under that pass from Joe Vignano.
Well, Maitre's gonna come late. They bring 4 initially, a little bit of a delayed blitz, and boom, the pop right there on Vignano again as he delivers that ball perfectly to Baptiste to move those chains. What a huge play, and what a tough, gritty play for a guy that's been banged up a little bit here the last couple weeks to keep hope alive.
29 yards on the pass play. Again to the air, and that short hop's incomplete. Moss was the receiver Vignano was looking for. So Vignano in the game, James, 15 of 29 and 199 yards, and now 15 of 30 with that last incompletion. 199 through the air with the throw game. A couple of TDs and an interception on the last play of the first half. Inconsequential in the back of the BC end zone. 2nd and 10. Looking right, staying right. Incomplete.
Well, and there's 2 guys not on the same page. That was the guy who had the huge play earlier on the kick return, Trevon Ewing, and it was Vignano pumped to him, then looked back in the middle of the field and went right back to him and hit an open Ewing streaking down the sidelines right in the hip, and he wasn't ready for it. That would have done some damage and a first down and maybe a whole lot more, but instead it's 3rd down and 10. Let's see what the Eagles have on this one. They'll bring 4.
Converted by Maine. Scott made the catch. He's on the run. Xavier Scott on 3rd and 10. Elijah Jones with the tackle into the red zone for the Black Bears.
Wow, Scott stacked right there, and he's going to come peeling out and left all alone right over the middle of the field, and then pounding as he runs that rock down near into the red zone. And nice pickup on first down to back it up, this time to Montego Moss.
So the pass to Scott went for 37 yards. Moss made the catch on that last play, and now we're down near the 10-yard line. Right about at the 11. 2nd and short. They can get a first down at the 8. Vignano, end zone. Bowman, who has a touchdown catch, was in the vicinity. So was Jaden Woodby.
Yeah, nice job by Woodby as they try to roll Bowman, who has touchdown in this game. Number 9, the transfer from FSU, wasn't having it, forcing a third down in medium now. And you got to thinking 4-down territory here. The 10th play of this drive for Maine.
2 for 2 on 3rd down in the drive for Maine. Fagiano extending the play. Nowhere to go. And he gets folded at the 10-yard line. Just ran out of options there, Bates.
Yeah, and waited, I think, a little bit too long to make up his mind to just tuck it and go get me what you can. Hey, it's not there. Go north and south and get me that first down. Instead, defense catches up with him. He's about 2 yards shy. Big play right here, a 4th down. And that offense staying there on the field, trying to get a first down, or better yet, a touchdown. Here we go.
4th and 2. First chance on 4th down for either team. That ball popped out. That ball came out. Official signaling it's BC football to Berry on the cover for the Eagles on 4th and 2 for Maine.
De Palma in there, so not only do they get the stuff, they force the fumble. Good penetration, and Barnwell puts it to the turf. There's the recovery by 21 to Berry. But a nice stand by Tim Lukabu's Boston College defense. They've been asked time and time again when the offense has struggled, especially against Virginia Tech. They popped right out there after 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. Just played ball, and that includes on 4th downs and along the goal line as well.
Jurkovec trying to go deep down the sideline. Flowers adjusting to the football. Unable to make the grab. Spake defensively back there with Flowers.
Yeah, seeing if they could, you know, and what isn't quite a sudden change. You're prepared. It's not like it's a true turnover when you go 4 downs and get off the field. But hey, why not? I like the thought process. McNulty, let's see if we can get him out there slipping a little bit after the turnover on downs, or the fumble at the end of the 4th down. And they do just that. But now you're looking at a 2nd down and 10. You got to do something here. You don't want this 3rd down and 10 to make it interesting with your back near your own goal line.
24 of 35 and 316 yards passing for Jurkovec, who gives it up to Alex Broom. Looked like he was dropped short of the line of scrimmage.
Did a hockey line change, did this Maine defense. You see that, sending about 5 guys in. Get some fresh bodies in there. Why not? Got to be able to get after that passer. You can't let Jurkovec stand back there with too much time. So let's see. Here's a huge 3rd down and 10. Plenty of time left in this football game. But Maine needs a big stop right here.
That's Takis. Slight motion. 3 receivers, bottom of your screen for Jurkovec from his own goal line. Flips it over the middle. That's well short of the marker to Jaden Williams. So how about the defensive response by Maine after the turnover, James?
Yeah, smart defense. Kazir, Bugs, Brown. Hey, that's fine. You can complete that all day long. You can have your 4 yards. Just keep him in front. Go make the sure tackle. He does just that and gets the defense off the field, forcing this punt. And the Black Bear offense, Jordan Stevens' team, looking to get the football with some decent field position. Try to put it in the paint this time.
So Danny Longman back in to punt, 1 step into his end zone. Gets it away cleanly. Jacob Henney. Fair catch. BC side of the 50. So it will be excellent field position for Maine. 7:22 to go and far from decided here in Chestnut Hill on a Saturday night. Maine has the football, trails Boston College 31-17. For more on the Black Bear quarterback, down to the sidelines at Lauren.
Thanks, Wormy. Yeah, you saw Joe Fagliano leave the game for like 1 or 2 plays there, kind of working on his right ankle a little bit. He was talking to his coach and said he caught his toe on the turf and it twisted a little weird. No, obviously, official word from anyone at Maine, but Joe has not stopped moving on the sidelines every single time his defense is on the field. He's shuffling, he's running back and forth, just looking like he's trying to keep that right ankle, right calf area a little warm. So every time he comes out, he's ready to go.
Yeah, it's let the pain come after that 4-hour bus trip back to Oroño. Oh, that's you know, but boy, wouldn't it feel good if they can find a way, get back into this one, try to get a win here on the road against Boston College, Lauren. But yeah, just all you can do is keep it warm for right now. You're right.
Over the middle. Moss able to hang on to that one with DeBerry all over him from Fagliano.
Play action pass, freeze those backers and come right behind them. Those backers, they got to respect the run. They haven't had a great day running the football, but enough success to where BC has to respect it.
Fagliano's up to 251 yards passing. This one, Cam Arnold has it going the other way for Boston College. Arnold tracked down at the 20. Cam Arnold makes the play for the Eagles.
There you go. That's my player of the game right there. I was wondering when he's going to make some noise. Cam Arnold reads the eyes of the quarterback, does an excellent job. How about the hands? And then how about the wheels? Looking more like Cam Akers in that garnet and gold, that maroon and gold. Man, great job by the junior from Bloomfield, Michigan. Here you go. Here's what he sees. Fagliano watching those eyes, and then he stretches out there and knows exactly what to do with it. Arnold played cornerback in high school, safety in 2020, and linebacker finally last year. He started 13 of 14 games at linebacker. What a huge play for the Eagles.
Great time for his first career interception, and now down ever closer to the goal line for Pat Garwo on the run for Boston College.
Oh, look at the juice, the offensive line. That's a nice look there from that unit up front. Some fire there, and the fire behind them, and Garwo running it pretty hard. This is a Boston College team. Remember, heading down to the panhandle of Florida next weekend to take on the Florida State Seminoles at 3-0. So hoping that they can get some good things going from that offensive line and on the ground, and I think that they've grown as a unit throughout this night, and hoping to put this one in the end zone and make it 38-17 here at the end of this drive.
Garwo again, his 12th carry, not quite as productive as the previous carry. Does have a touchdown run in the game, James. That was in the second quarter of 1 yard.
Just when I brag on them, they open up the floodgates. Come swarming in there.
BC with a little bit of work to do in this game. We've got an injured player from Maine, Robbie Ryobi, down on the turf for the Black Bears. 2 games coming your way next week. Robbie Ryobi able to make it to the sidelines after being shaken up for the Black Bears. So he's involved in further evaluation. While we have a sec, let's get a message from Green Machine. 5:44 to go in the game. BC has been out in front most of the way. Ryobi on the sidelines for Maine. Don't forget that doubleheader next week.
Trying to charge Ryobi back up over there, aren't they?
We'll feature NC State and Louisville next week for you. Louisville lost a heartbreaker last night to Florida State, which is 3-0 on the season. Marquee early season win against LSU for Mike Norvell and the Florida State Seminoles. Clock is rolling for Phil Jurkovec and the Boston College Eagles down near the 11-yard line of the Maine Black Bears.
He's fine letting this clock just tick out.
Yeah, over 700 yards of total offense between the two ball clubs this evening. BC with 386 total yards. Doing the legwork is Garwo. Gets a lot of attention from the Black Bear defense and driven back on 2nd and goal.
Well, a couple things. I like the thought process coming out of the break. Hey, let's see if we can get physical. Let's see if we can, what we can do on the ground and pound this football. So I like the call, even though you've got 2nd and goal from what was it, about the 13-yard line. But I also like the way that this Maine Black Bear defense just continues to scrap and continues to fight. They'll let this clock tick way down again. You know, it's a little bit more interesting, and, you know, of course, a field goal certainly helps here. Maine with their 2 timeouts left, but it'll be Boston College using one right now.
First timeout of the half used by Jeff Hafley and the Eagles. .416 on the game clock, and while we have a moment, let's get a message from Works Nitro.
Meet Works Nitro. Powerful tools for any project with gas-like power without the gas. Fueled by PowerShare batteries to give you the power to outperform.
.31-17 Eagles trying to post that first victory in 2022. So close in their home opener, James, against Rutgers. 22-21. They had the lead in the 3rd quarter. Boston College was up 21-12. Jurkovec had 3 TD passes. Flowers caught 2 of those TD passes. Wasn't enough against the Scarlet Knights. Jurkovec buys a little time. Throws to the end zone. This is up for grabs in the back of the end zone. Flowers closest to it for BC.
The pressure there laid on Jurkovec, throwing it as he falls back, and, you know, nowhere really to go. There, a big crowd on the back of that end zone. So lucky for BC, it did fall incomplete out of bounds. Here's the field goal attempt.
It's 28 yards from Connor Linton. He's 1 for 2 in the game, and that's another miss. So he had made a field goal of 46 yards, a miss from 39, and now this one.
Man, it's a special teams that wasn't playing bad football. It has been a little bit on the ugly side for the special teams unit, the 3rd phase of the game for Hafley's Eagles here tonight. And, you know, just as you start to get that offense clicking a little bit, the one thing you didn't want was the special teams snap good, hold good, and Linton just misses his 2nd one. But, man, a couple issues that need to be cleaned up before you go up against teams like Florida State. Clemson's coming up here in the near future. Got to get some of those issues cleaned up.
Florida State, Louisville, and Clemson, the next 3 opponents for the Eagles. 2 of those are at home against Louisville and Clemson, then an open week, and then back on the road for a couple of games for the Eagles. Florida State has won 3 in a row in the series with the Eagles, and 10 of the last 11. As next Saturday, BC travels to Tallahassee. Maine has a bye week coming up. Then October 1st, James, they take on Villanova. First Colonial Athletic Association game on the schedule for Maine.
I wonder if Stephen King was ever a football fan when he was there attending Maine.
What's not to like about this Maine program? They've come in here, acquitted themselves quite well, hung in this game. They might be running out of time.
You know, just got to be careful with that football, but you also need to move it down the field, and we're going to get a flag before we can get this snap off.
False start. Offense. Number 62. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
Garachi, 62. I love my mama very much, and now you know that. This is an offensive unit led by Michael Garachi, the captain up front, that hasn't allowed a lot of sacks over the last couple of years, that's for sure. Here we go. Here's a little razzle-dazzle.
Yeah, another little gadget play from the Black Bears. Why not at this stage of the game? Xavier Scott shoveled it to Freddie Brock.
Hook and ladder. And a good job blocking down the field. We've already seen the flea flicker earlier to set up a score. And now moving those chains with a little quick pitch out to the edge, and it takes some good blocking there by your receivers and doing just that.
Xavier Scott. He's been a factor tonight with 7 catches. He's up over 100 yards receiving.
Big tired bodies there. You see Francois late getting to the line.
Pagano again to the air. Scott is begging for a flag.
Elijah Jones, he had a hold of that jersey. They're throwing that back corner, and he knew he had overrun him, and there should have been a flag right there. You're right, Xavier Scott, but you won't get it. So here's your 3rd down now. And 5. Just keep that cover on. Keep them in front of you, Boston College. Don't give up the big play.
Incomplete near midfield. Montego Moss behind him. And now 4th down. 0 for 1 on 4th down in the game for Maine. Going to keep the offensive unit out there.
Yeah, it was not too long ago. Stuff in the 4th quarter on a 4th down and 1 down near the goal line. It was a fumble that came out, recovered by Boston College. Would have been a turnover on downs anyway. So here's the 2nd one.
Pressure. Scott. Too far ahead of Xavier Scott on 4th down, and the ball's going back to BC. So Phil Jurkovec tonight, James, up over 300 yards passing, a couple of TD passes as well. Getting the job done for the Eagles. Trying to post a win at home.
Yeah, and it starts with keeping him upright. Remember, he was sacked 5 times in that Virginia Tech game. Little bit of pressure tonight, but he stands in there strong and spreads that football around to guys like Zay Flowers, Jaden Williams, Jalen Gill, and of course, big tight end, nice target, George Takis, the transfer from Notre Dame, the Naples, Florida high school product down to Gulf Coast High School. Back to the ground they go, trying to run out this clock now.
So Jurkovec, who handed that off, built tough, brought to you by Wrangler as he gave it to Garwo. 7th time in his career up over 300 yards passing in a game for BC.
And what was it that Flutie and Matt Ryan at the top of that 300-plus yard chart? How many did they have?
They had more than Jurkovec.
Okay, that's good. How many more? Was it 12?
I would love to see that graphic again. The names that are on that list.
Yeah.
You know, as a kid, I'm from Massachusetts originally. I would come here as a kid to watch BC football. Big time in New England. Garwo. I remember 1984 like it was yesterday, James, with Flutie throwing the Hail Mary pass to Gerard Phelan in the end zone in the Orange Bowl against Miami.
There it is. All right, 12. So 12. So inching his way closer. Wow. That is a pretty good list. Yeah, I mean, one of my earliest memories is I'll never forget where I was watching the highlights of that Doug Flutie at Miami, the Hail Mary. Some of those.
The 22 and 68, those are retired numbers. The rest of the numbers are honored numbers. But Flutie and Mike Ruth, offensive linemen for Boston College, retired numbers. And there's a statue of Doug Flutie. If you come to Alumni Stadium, it's a must-see. It's the form of him just about to throw that Hail Mary pass.
Got that old mesh half-shirt jersey on from the 80s. Heck yeah.
That's Garwo. They're just trying to melt that clock. We're inside of 2 minutes to go.
And what a great dude Doug Flutie is. That, you know, to have him around. I mean, been around him of all places at some New Mexico basketball games over the years, out in the Mountain West Conference. He'd come out to Las Vegas for the Mountain West Conference tournament and visited with him a couple times. But just a good guy and an injured Black Bear here.
Xavier Nurse, James, being attended to. That was November 23rd, 1984. 47-45. BC goes to Miami and wins that game on the last second Hail Mary pass. Flutie goes on to win the Heisman Trophy, and Boston College finishes the year 10-2, wins in the Cotton Bowl against Houston. Doug Flutie, 30 career wins as a starter at Boston College, and that is a school record. You talk about how nice a guy he is, James. When we were here a few years ago, he appeared out of thin air and was nice enough to take a photo next to the replica of his Heisman Trophy, which is on display here at the BC football offices. Garwo broke a tackle. Watch out. He knows his alley all the way to the end zone. Pat Garwo, second rushing touchdown of the game. James, that was for 30 yards for
just
Garwo.
Yesterday, Tom, Jeff Hafley sat in our meeting and said, you know, I'd like to see these backs break some tackles. Sure, it comes under 2 minutes left in the game, but better late than never. Garwo breaking a couple tackles just like coach ordered, and to the house to definitely put this one out of reach now. 38-17. And take a good vibe for that offensive. Look at the offensive line and opening up some holes on that run. Garwo doing the rest. That's how it all works together. Nice look there for the offensive line that has really struggled the first couple games. Some young, inexperienced guys up there starting to get some good experience here in this one and playing as a unit. You know, just try to be a little more consistent as they move ahead. But that one sure looked pretty. You get a back that makes a guy miss. Holes opening up in front of him like that. Oh, this is the way we're supposed to play some ball here on Chestnut Hill.
17 carries and 78 yards for Pat Garwo. His head coach Jeff Hafley. Last week, Boston College as a team had 4 total yards rushing at Virginia Tech. Rush yards for BC tonight, 111 as a team. Ewing. Big pop near the 20.
Who popped JR?
It's old school, Bates. That's like back to 1984.
Like Doug Flutie. J.R. Ewing was the thing. Listen to this.
Yeah.
Well, and again, you know, better late than never. They struggled a little bit earlier, this team did, on the kick cover. Not that time. It's not always where you're from, it's where you're at. And where you're at right now, these Boston College guys, if they can shut it down right here on defense, they'll head into that locker room feeling really good about themselves.
Crouch had the hit on special teams that we took full sound. It's an industry term. So it appears that the Garwo rushing touchdown has put this one out of reach for Maine. So the Black Bears, James, are going to drop to 0-3. And again, they have a bye week next week before they play Villanova at home in Orono, Maine.
Well, and get rested up a little bit. It'll be fun to watch the rest of the way here in 2022. Jordan Stevens, in his first year as head coach, watch his team compete, because I really enjoyed watching the Black Bears compete on both sides of the ball here tonight.
And you hope Joe Figliano doesn't have any lingering effects from that ankle he was favoring. We also have another player down for Maine. It's Darius Bell.
Yeah, and well, that's one good thing about that bye week. You know, you came in here, a couple guys that I know really wanted to play. A guy like Kobe White, who played so many good snaps for Boston College, and then went to JMU. He injured his knee after he was outstanding early on, and you know, it's something that Jeff Hafley, when Kobe White, he said, "Hey, coach, I'm going to go somewhere else, and I hate to leave here," but Hafley helped him go find a spot at JMU, go find a spot there at Maine. As we take a look at the rest of the way for these Boston College Eagles, they're coming up anyway through the end of October. So unlike Edgar Allan Poe, Boston did not turn their back on Kobe White. But the city of Boston, I learned all that on my duck tour too.
Interesting.
Yeah, he felt slighted and went to Baltimore and claimed that, I guess.
Quoth the Raven, nevermore. We saw that BC has Clemson at home this year as they pursue the ball carrier near the 45-yard line, Freddie Brock. Last year, James, October 22nd at Clemson, Boston College had a chance to win that game, if you recall. They lost 19-13, but they fumbled late in the fourth quarter. And remember, as Clemson plays today and tonight, they're working on a 35-game home winning streak as they take on Louisiana Tech this evening at Memorial Stadium for the Tigers.
Wow, but they'll have to come up here, and you look back over the years, these Eagles, no matter where they are, they're good for one of those big-time games rising up at nighttime. I guess we don't know exactly what time that one will be, the Clemson game coming up.
We know the date, October 8th.
Is that a Saturday?
That is a Saturday.
Well, so we don't know the schedule yet, but some of these night games that you look back, what was it, the USC a few years back, Florida State has had some tough runs up here at night. I mean, this is a fun rocking place when you get that big time ball game, the big opponent in here.
Last year they beat Missouri here out of the SEC 41-34 in overtime, and that was the first time they'd beaten an SEC team since '01. And the first SEC team last year in Missouri to play at Boston College since 1987. We're kicking it old school here with 84 and 87 and all your old school bands from the Boston area, James.
Yep. Yeah, I didn't even bring up Ed O'G and the Bulldogs. Oh, you there? I just did it. He was from the Barry Roxbury, but not the Fruit, y'all.
That's it, Bates. 38-17. BC has its first win of 2022.
Yeah, and congratulations to Jeff Hafley and these Boston College Eagles. It was a rough one in Blacksburg last weekend, but they get in the win column and just in time as they head to Tallahassee next week. And good luck as well to the Maine Black Bears, because it was a hard-fought battle here on the road tonight for Jordan Stevens and his guys.